Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Scott Dugan, and let's take a look at REPLIKA XT by Native Instruments. It's a great sounding delay with a bunch of different features that make it really musical and really easy to use. We can pick from 5 different delay styles, and then we have 7 different effects that we can pick from. One of my favorite features is actually just this display right here. It's so easy to see exactly what this delay is doing. All right, so let's break this up into 4 different sections. We have the header, we have the style section, we have the modulation section, and then the delay section right here in the middle. Now this section in the middle is for general controls. If you've ever used a delay, you'll notice we have mix, our time selector, and then our feedback knob. Now right in the middle, big fat knob lets us change the speed of this delay. Want it to go faster or slower? I just turn the knob. Now right now it's giving me a dotted 16th note. If I want to change from dotted to straight or triplets, I click that little button here, pops up, and I can pick triplets, or I can make it straight, or I can even make it in milliseconds. I can really dial that in. And you'll notice that by default, this is locked to the BPM of our DAW. We can see that right here with this big sync button. If I turn that off, we can change this to any BPM we want. And by holding Shift, I can create some really fine movements. Double click, I can reset it, and then turn sync back on. Now you'll notice that when I pull up this menu, and we'll see a couple different menus in this visualizer here, after selecting an option, it disappears. If I want that to stick around, I can pin it using this button here. Or if I want it to go away without clicking something, I can exit out. All right, so we talked about the delay time. Let's move over to mix. This is just a simple dry, wet knob. I can blend the two. I can lock it if I want. If I don't want this to change when I switch presets, you can padlock it in. On the right, we have the feedback knob. This is taking our delayed signal and feeding it back into itself. So if I turn it down, we're not going to have very many repeats. In fact, we have only 1. And as I turn this up, we get more and more repeats or more and more tail. And this feedback knob can go above 100%, which means we can get some runaway type effects as well. Now whenever I make a change, this visualizer updates for me. All right, so that's section 1, the delay section. Over on the left, we have the style section. We can choose between 5 different styles. Do we want it to be clean, or dirty, or even grainy? Once we make a selection, the parameters over in the style section are going to update depending on which one we pick. Now we're going to go over the style section in a little bit. Next up, we have the modulation section. These are effects that we can add to that delayed signal, or even the wet and dry signal, or by using the mix knob all the way down at dry, we can apply these effects to the dry signal only. We'll be going over the modulation section in a video coming up as well. Now the 4th section of this user interface is the header up here at the top. This is where we can get to our presets. We can select them from the menu, or we can step forward and backwards like this. Okay. And then once we find something we like, maybe we make some changes, change some parameters, we can use the menu over on the left to do a save as and call this whatever we want. And it popped up right here under user presets. If we want to get rid of it, use the menu again and hit delete. After that, we have this copy B to A option. Now, if you're familiar with a bunch of Waves plugins or a bunch of Native Instruments plugins, they have this A and B layer. It allows us to compare really quickly two different sets of parameters. Let's see if we like this one or this one. We can jump back and forth. Copy B to A allows us to copy whatever we're currently on to the other layer. So we can copy B to A, and now these will be exactly the same, and we can make some tweaks and further compare. After that, we can get to our user manual and do some other menu things. Over here on the right, on the top, we have our input and output gain. Very simple. If I want to reset it, I can just double click. Now down at the bottom, we have a couple different modes. Right now we're looking at dual mode, and we can toggle back over to single mode. In single mode, we have a true stereo input and output, and this delay is being applied to both the left and the right channel at the same time. It's doing the same thing. And that's because we're in standard mode. That sounds like this. Actually, let's get rid of this pitch shifter. There we go. Okay, there we have a pretty standard delay. I can flip that to a ping pong delay, which means those delays, as we can see, are going to go back and forth, left and right, left and right. Those are the two different options under single. If I flip to dual again, I now have two stereo inputs and outputs. And that means I can run these now in serial or in parallel. So we have delay A, we have delay B. Right now in serial, delay A is going into delay B, and then it's going into the feedback loop. If I switch to parallel, now the input is being split, and that signal is being sent to delay A and delay B independently. It's then being combined, going through the feedback loop, and then out of the plugin. So again, we have a single delay like this. Same thing on the left and right channel. I can go to dual mode. That's parallel. In serial, again, one is going into the other. And we can change the way this sounds. Now we also have additional controls in the display area, pattern panning, balance options, and these change just a bit depending on which mode we're in. And we're going to take a look at those in detail as well. Now just to get you started, I want to play you a couple different stems and then turn on Replika XT so you can actually hear what a big difference a simple, quote, simple delay plugin can do. Let's turn these off real fast so you can hear what's going on. I actually have one on the master track as well. That's off. All right, so here are drums. And let's turn on this simple delay. Just a little bit of ghosting going on. And it puts these drums in a space. Next, let's do a simple little guitar. Very dry. And now with a little ping pong delay. Again, it puts that guitar into space. All right, here we have a Rhodes. And now I'm using this delay as kind of like an effect, and you'll hear it when I turn it on. Have a chorusy depth effect. Now I'm also sending this to a delay here. I believe I'm just doing a little snare throw. Here it comes. Kind of like a low feedback thing going on. See if I can get it to play. Here it comes. There we go. If I start turning off these plugins, these delays, we're going to hear this mix get shallow. As I turn them back on, we're going to hear this mix have depth and some interest happening. On the master here, I have the REPLIKA XT kind of emulating a really subtle tape slap. Kind of puts us in another space. Alright, the next video, let's take a look at these advanced delay controls. I'll see you then.